Hello, viewer. Thank you for joining us once again on this live show where we host amazing guests who have great stories to share. So today my guest is Liwali Kivumanyuki, who's the founder and CEO of FUNDIS. All right. So today we are hosting him on this particular show, and he's going to share with us his journey even to where he is at the moment. So karibu to the studio, Alex. How are you, Alex?
Thank you so much. I'm doing really well today, and thank you for the privilege to be on your platform today. I'm really excited and looking forward to also engage with the community on your space, and I'm also sure a lot of our own people also will be joining in. So thank you so much for the invitation and for having me.
You're welcome. You're very much welcome. So I'd like you to maybe first introduce yourself and what you do, and then you can commence from there.
Yes. So I have 4 names. My name is Alex Kamanga Liwali Manyuki. So sometimes I use them interchangeably, depending on how I feel like the situation and how I want the outcome to look like. I am one of the co-founders of what is known as FUNDIS, and also the chief executive. And by definition, what FUNDIS is, we are a platform that is web and mobile based, that is rethinking how work gets done in Africa's informal sector. So we are simply thinking how we can make it easier for individuals, for households, for companies to be able to find and hire competent workers. And for the workers, this becomes what you'd think of as LinkedIn for a carpenter, LinkedIn for a tailor, a career identity platform. So that's me and FUNDIS.
Oh, all right. So, what was the inspiration behind you starting FUNDIS?
Well, I would be lying if I told you that FUNDIS is one of those bingo ideas that we always knew this is what we wanted to do. So I trained as a lawyer. I did legal studies. At the time when I was graduating, I had a couple of friends who were working in the construction space. And every time we'd meet up for coffee, I kept hearing them talking about how hard it is for them to find workers in their project. So you'd be having a project, then you need like 20 people and 100 people have come. So how do you select 10 people from 100, right? It's not like these guys come with resumes. It's common practice in Kenya. Every fundi will tell you they know how to do something even if they don't. And by the time you are realizing halfway the project, you have guys who say they know what they are doing and they don't. So FUNDIS came as an idea, first of all, to just think about, is there a way we could help them to figure out that equation that as a site manager, when you have a construction project, how do you get the right skill set? But then by default, we learned during the process that the same construction worker who works in a project is the same one you're going to be calling at home for a small project. And really, these guys are just there. They don't know where the next project is, how it's going to come, how to get in touch. So that's how FUNDIS came about. It was simply tinkering around with things, and there we had it, something that could be scaled and grown over time.
Aha. And when did FUNDIS start?
So
when was it founded?
Yeah. So officially, as a company, we incorporated FUNDIS in May 2019. but at least behind scenes, I had been working with a few other friends for at least a year plus. Need just to know, do we have something that could be scaled? Is this something that could potentially be taken to other countries? So we had like a year between April 2018 of working 1 year, just trying to see test ideas run. Then we incorporated in May of 2019.
So you stated that you started Fundis in 2019, and it is a mobile and a web-based platform.
Yes.
What challenges did you face when you started it that you'd like to share, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Right. First of all, it's important to say that if you start anything in Kenya and it succeeds, you need to pat yourself on the back because our market is very, very different from many other markets that I've experienced and talked to guys who are trying to build things there. Kenya is not one of those places where you will get celebrated at the very, very early stages. We only celebrate, we'll celebrate you today and tomorrow we'll criticize you bitterly. So for us, it was, first of all, just changing minds. It's a very, very, very hard thing when you are changing a traditional element that has been there for years. So, for instance, there's how people have hired artisans and all these mafundis for the last 50 years. And here you come with a new innovation where you now want to tell people, look, you can go to your smartphone, you can request what you're looking for, and you will get a competent and vetted person. So the first challenge was, we spent 6 months going from construction site to construction site, and we did not close a single job, right? So we were trying to talk to contractors, use our platform, and it was really, 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 really hard. But what happens again, at the end of the day, resilience wins the day. So when you keep bothering people about the same thing day in, day out, eventually they start saying, okay, let me test it for once so that so that you stop bothering me every day. But problem number 2 was capital. Because at the early stages, most of us fund ourselves by what we say. You are funded by family, friends, and fools. And the fools are the people who will lose their money for trusting you. So, the whole 1 year, we did a 1 year program just to learn how to raise capital, how to resource mobilize. And we started having results in terms of being able to raise capital the second year. Then the third biggest challenge was, majority of artisans are informal sector workers, and people have been valuing having a feature phone, that Kabambe phone, simply because it's easy to use on sites and it keeps a battery charge for long. And now you're trying to tell somebody you need to move from that to a smartphone that you may need to carry around, also a power bank that if it falls, it breaks. And just changing that mind shift in terms of helping now artisans to start seeing there's no difference between them and what we call digital nomads. The guys who can take their laptop and work from anywhere in the world, right? For these guys, the idea was we can start using your phone as your main tool of operations because they're able to do quotations, invoices, receipts. They can be able to buy spare parts. They can be able to get loans. They can be able to access insurance straight from the same place. So those were technically like the biggest 3 things. But of course, there's always the naysayers and the doubts as well. A lot of times just asking yourself, did I make the right decision? Even going home until, let's say, a year ago, they would still be asking me when I'm getting a real job. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so those been sort of the challenges the 4 top challenges I would say, because it's both external and also personal. You just being able to believe yourself, and when you're told to, you go home and your aunt tells you there's this person I would like for you to send your CV, just being able to say, no, I'm not looking for a job, I have a job. It takes time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Yes, yes, I can also relate. So I'd also like to ask you, like, how many artisans have you recruited so far who have joined Fundis?
Right. And I mean, I will answer by first of all saying we don't have a limit of how many artisans we want. We're actually looking for more. But as of date, we have perhaps a database of, we have been operation in Nairobi at the beginning until like 6 months ago is when now we have gone to Mombasa, Nakuru, and Machakos. So in those four places, we have Nairobi only about a database of about 1,500. Then we have about another 600 coming up from those regions. But also, we are having this interview at a very good time because today is when we are launching the updated app for what we are calling the Fundis Fixers app. So this is
Wow.
specifically the app targeted for these guys, transitioning them from not just being seen as Juakali guys to become small service businesses. So we are now targeting to add another 1,500 in the next 4 months to cover those four main counties.
Uh-huh. So,
Yeah.
we might be using some jargons here that the viewer might not understand. So,
Yes.
I'd like you to demystify who is an artisan?
Right. And by the way, our name should be indicative for anyone who hears the word Fundis, right? So in East Africa space, Fundis means somebody who has a skill, a technical skill in something. But Fundis in the southern parts of Africa is an expert. A Fundi is an expert in something. So like very learned people are known as Fundis in the southern part of the continent. So for us, when we talk about artisans, technicians, repairmen, repair women, skilled trades professionals, I mean, all we mean is that we are focused on anyone who has a skill, and that skill can be supplied out as a service, and therefore the person who has that service becomes a service provider, and therefore Fundis becomes a partner in your growth to what your next level would look like. So nannies are Fundis, beauticians are Fundis, mechanics are Fundis, carpenters are Fundis. So we have started with a couple of segments, but the goal is to be able to eventually be able to help. I'm sure you have seen a supermarket saying a attendant wanted, or a
Yes.
salon saying a hairdresser needed. Eventually, for us is to be able to build the fuzu ama brighter Monday for the informal sector. So it means, how do you hire a nanny? Be it a nanny for today, I'm a nanny for a month, I live in. How do you hire if you're stuck on the road between Nairobi to Nakuru and you have a puncture and you don't know where to get a mechanic? How do you request for that? So we will grow this eventually to a couple of other areas, but right now we have predominantly started with the construction kind of skill set.
Mm. So that
Yeah.
means that you are now creating job opportunities for young people, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. That's the whole vision for us, because it's no secret, and you know this, that over 80% of all the new jobs are in the informal sector. So we have artisans whom we really 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 love, who have low degrees. They are not doing these jobs because they couldn't have succeeded as legal counsels out there, but they just identify it. Instead of me doing on the weekend this painting job or this furniture making thing as a DIY, right? Why don't I just go full force on it, and they can make a complete career? And most of them making incomes that they would have never imagined making in their professional trained settings. So the idea is careers have shifted right now. For every four young people entering the labor market, only one formal sector job is being created. So how do we make these informal sector jobs attractive? Because a day is coming when if you want to employ a shopkeeper, they perhaps needs to have a diploma or a degree. A day is coming that if you're hiring a hairstylist, they need to have maybe a certain NEC or TVETA sort of NITA certificate. So for us, we make it easier for you. You tell us what you're looking for. We will find the trustworthy, competent, vetted person to do your job. That goes even for nannies. I don't know, many people don't know that there are lots of programs where now with domestic workers are trained. And they are trained, so for instance, on basic things like, safety, health, and all those kinds of things. Those people become experts. So if a nanny has worked for 10 families in the last 20 years, she should be able to have a resume of some sort that if I'm looking a job for another family, I can tell them, hey, these are the families I have served in the past. These are their recommendations on and what they felt about me. And therefore, you can hire me because I know to do A, B, C, D. So it's an exciting piece that we are trying to build that will touch a lot of our daily parts of our lives that we interact with.
All right. Um, so if an artisan wants to be part of Fundis,
Yes.
do they have to pay a certain fee so that they can they can be recruited and be able to be in the database?
It's absolutely free of charge for the artisans. This is built with them in mind. This is built as the one place that they can expect we are not making it harder for them. Of course, it doesn't mean that everybody will end up getting the jobs because we have an intentional vetting process. And we also provide upskilling. So, for instance, we have a partnership with the government of Kenya through the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, where we are just trying to think, all right, so if we have 50 carpenters, if we have assessed them and we know their knowledge and skills gaps, how do we help them get to the next level of maybe getting a trade test, getting that trade certificate, getting accredited, or even just opening, registering for a business name or registering a company, those kinds of things. So it's absolutely free of charge for artisans, but we have an intentional process around how we work with them before we start giving them jobs, because we want our customers to have the peace of mind that we are sending you somebody who your safety is guaranteed, who we know who they have been working for before, who we can vouch for their character, and most importantly, who we know will do the job as it's supposed to be done. So it's free for artisans.
Mm-hmm. So you find that young people are shying away from vocational training. All right. So you find that the government has gone is urging them to join or to attend a vocational training school, but you find that
Yes.
they are saying it is not classy. So what is your word of advice to those youth who are shying away from even being fundis?
Truth be told, before even we come to that misconception that a fundi is an unlearned person, is somebody who could not have cut it in other sectors of life, that's why they became fundis. Of course, there is some elements to that, but there is a completely new breed of young and old artisans in that space. So we have seen, like I've told you, we have seen artisans with law degrees, we have seen artisans who have engineering degrees, so there's no bias. The thing we need to start with is a simple statement where we say internally that every single person, please know thyself, right? Because a lot of us are picking careers based on hierarchies and things we watched on the movies. For instance, I will not lie to you. I wanted to become a lawyer based on a TV series I had watched many years back known as The Practice, until the day I showed up in Kibera Law Courts. And I found a translator, and that time they had not done nice benches. So there are those additional benches where if people stand on one side, the others fall on the other side, right? And I had nobody had prepared me enough to have that exposure. So we want to correct the misconception on that part of vocational and technical skills. Uh, we have close to 3.5 million skilled trade professionals in Kenya today. And we see their needs growing on a daily basis because let's pick housing for instance. Annually, Kenya needs about 200,000 housing units, but our market is only able to do 50,000 housing units every year. So it means year over year we have a deficit of around 50K. So it means artisans are going to continuously be needed. Infrastructure development is growing. So we need guys who are going to be in those waterworks projects, those roads projects, those bridges, those building costs. So the idea here is if people understood that I am doing carpentry because I actually do love doing carpentry, right? It's not I'm doing carpentry because I couldn't find anything else to do in life, because there is not a career that right now you can't say it is filled to capacity. But people are still finding jobs. Even, I mean, people say become you won't be able to get jobs or those kinds of stuff. But people are getting jobs every day. So for skilled trades professionals, for the first time now in the last couple of years, we have seen people who have been admitted in the university, but instead of opting to go to take those degree courses, they opted to go to Tibet. So that's suddenly a realization that it's about building a life's work. So where do you want to see yourselves 5 years, 4 years? I mean, I've seen artisans who are in Nairobi, they have constructed their own houses, they drive, they take their kids to good school. So there's that stigma is no longer there. And that's what we need to keep telling every single person. If you like, I'll give you an example. We have a lady known as Shailene who joined us, and she's part of our team. So I'm at liberty to share this because she has been with us for a while now. Who the first time she came to see us, we had like avoided her calls and reaching out for quite some time until the day she showed up in the office and said, "I'm here. I came from Nakuru and I'm here in Nairobi in the office, and I want to become a plumber." Right? She was 19 years that time. Right now, over time, build exposure, her confidence, because as a platform, by the way, 50% of all the jobs we are pushing for are supposed to be for young women between the ages of 18 to 35. And this is very intentional. We want to encourage the involvement. Let's remove the stereotypes. Anybody who has the skill can do the job and do it well for you. So that stigma career-wise, we'll start sharing stories that completely demystify what people think about when they think of a fundi. We see a fundi as a service provider, just like your tax attorney or your lawyer or your medical your medical practitioner, who when you go, you explain to them how you're feeling, they give you a couple of recommendations. But for the artisan, it's the exact same thing. If your toilet is blocked, they will inspect, they will tell you this is what it's gonna cost, and they will do the service. So it's a dope career. It's something we want people to think about. And that's why we are building intentional support to help those in professional skilled trades to grow. So if you're at this level, how do we help you get to the next level and the next and the next? So that would be the thinking that we are having there.
So viewer, in the comment section, you can join using the link so that you may even appear in the studio, so that if you have any question, you may ask Alex. And if you have a comment, you can also share your comments, which I'm seeing that they're coming in quick and fast. So the first comment is coming from Christine Bulimu. She's saying, "Doctor, watching you change the world of women one at a time." So thank you so much, Alex. So you can see that you're being appreciated because of of pushing for the gender aspect, promoting women to join the industry, and also recruiting women, because you find that people usually think that fundis is just reserved for men, but you can see that your organization is encouraging more women fundis to join, and also they get these jobs. Kyoko Charlie is saying, good job. Lucia Wairimo is saying vocational training is the way to go. Indeed, perfectly well. And also there's Jackie Shibalira, she's saying that she's tuned in. So the next question I have for you is the clients.
Yes.
Your clients, are they from the real estate sector or from the households, or where exactly are you getting your clients from?
So in the early days in our first year, we were very broad in terms of just understanding what the market looks like. So we started out in what we call a B2C, a business to consumer space, where we were focusing on individuals, households, and what you can think about all these things we request from a personalized perspective. But in the last 1 year, we have also now expanded our scope to also this, the other side we say B2B, business to business. On the business to business side, our kind of consumer users that we have would be the likes of building contractors, the likes of realtors, so be it residential or commercial or mixed use. We have now started seeing a huge interest from the hospitality space. And hospitality, I mean hotels, restaurants, motels, inns. Interestingly, growing vertical, Airbnb hosts. And it's not something we had thought about, but then they see the intentionality in what we are doing. And then we have also now started thinking about all these outfits that have a feel of a standalone space. So think of organizations that have their own spaces and all the fundamentals that come with managing those spaces. But then it's also now growing broadly, because now we're at a point where if you think about contractors, you have again several types of contractors. So the contractor that is a building contractor is very different from the civil works or water works or mechanical works. All those places need, I mean, you'd be surprised to know we have over 100 types of artisans in Kenya, according to the National Construction Authority. I think it's somewhere over 120 defined types of fundis or artisans. So that's the kind of clientele we have now. We are still growing and seeing what other things are coming. Because, for instance, one of the things that now came about during COVID is people started having medical equipment at home. So we have seen requests where somebody has something at home that they need somebody to come and look at, and it's not something we had thought about. So largely, those are the main focus groups for customers we have now. And we are looking at a few parameters that would help us keep identifying the other similar markets we want to serve. So for instance, we would want to look at the severeness of the problems they go through by not being able to find the right artisan. So put yourself, for instance, in the shoes of a high-end hotel that has a guest that is checking in now and the toilet is not working. So that's a severe problem. They need it solved now. But we're also looking at the repetitive nature. As a household, perhaps you are likely to request for a repair once in a very long time. It's not every day you'll break your phone or break your laptop, right? So it's once in a long time. So for the individual and household settings, we need them in volumes, and that will tell you why we are scaling to other cities, because those come in their droves over time, but they are not repetitive. But a real estate agent that has 10 buildings, every day something needs to be looked at here and there. But now, interesting shift that has happened. We had never imagined a day that somebody would come to us and say, I need 100 artisans. So we thought this was a solution for on-demand needs, right? Your car is broken, you need a fundi. Your tap is not working, you need a fundi. Now we are seeing requests, an international company setting up in Kenya, an international construction company setting in Kenya, and they employ people full-time. Therefore, now they're coming to Fundis like, hey, can we use your platform to recruit 6 artisans for the next 1 year? And suddenly that changes everything. So it's growing. We'll keep look. We are. I mean, we have a category we simply call others, and others allows us for you to place what you are looking for, and then once you pick others, you tell us what you are thinking about. So if we see a particular pattern, then we make it a service. So we throw a lot of things on the wall. Whichever sticks on the wall, we circle around it and say, bingo, we found what we wanted to do. So it's co-creation with customers, understanding their needs, what they are thinking, and then we make it services. So when we were starting, we had over 30 service types, but we quickly reduced them back to 3 and grew intentionally so that you don't make mistakes as you go. So that's the kind of customers we are serving right now.
So there is a question here from Jackie Shibalira. She's saying, good job, would like to partner with you in training girls and youth with disabilities. How can we encourage persons with disabilities to join in? So like, even the first question is, Fundis, have you maybe recruited persons with disability who have joined your platform, or it's something that you are thinking about?
So inclusivity is a huge element of our work. So we have been exploring a couple of approaches towards getting there. So the way Fundis works is that we have the principle of continuous and never-ending improvement. So it's just now that we have now gotten into spaces of partnering with what I would say, for lack of a better word, special interest sorts of settings. So it's part of what now we are focused on the next 6 months, just being able to identify how would we be able to work around those kinds of scenarios. So right now, I would actually, whoever has asked the question, I'm not sure I got the name. I don't know whether you said it was Jacqueline or Jackie.
She's called Jackie.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I would love to have a side chat because those are kind of conversations we're having with a couple of partners now across several counties in terms of being able to facilitate that, because our platform is an enabler. It's an enabling platform. We use technology as an enablement of what people are doing. So technology is not the solution. The technology is to make those elements easier, faster, and cheaper. So all these interests groups, we are talking to see, okay, how do we make it easy in that area? So we don't want to redefine the wheel. We would want to work on the learnings and insights that partners have. If we have partners who have really good experience in a certain area, then we want to build on it. So I would want to have a conversation with her, and maybe I'll drop my email as well towards the end, and we can have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah, you can even in the comment section, you can drop your details. So we are nearing the end of the show. I noticed that you have investors and you have won awards.
Yes.
Kindly share more on that.
Yeah, like I told you, many of us start with the 3 F's: family, friends, and fools. But we keep improving as we go. So yeah, we have been incredibly privileged of the last, maybe let's say 1 year, 8 months to 1 year, to have suddenly gotten to a place where the entire world looks at what you are doing, and they say, okay, we feel what you're building could have a special effect on key thematic areas. And key thematic areas, for instance, being vocational training, learning and knowledge recognition, youth unemployment, which is a huge thorn on everybody's flesh right now. So we have on our main impact side, we are currently funded by the Challenge Fund for youth employment, which is basically the government of Netherlands. And the whole concept there is that they have a target of creating 200,000 jobs, I think, in the next 5 years across a couple of markets in UAE, some of them in places like Jordan, others in sub-Saharan Africa. Then we are very lucky as well. We are funded as well by local funds as well, what we call private equity, people who look at what you're doing and they want to help you accelerate. So we also funded by the Korea Innovation Fund. It's a family fund. Yeah, we have been lucky. Even the outgoing government, we have zero complaints. We have been beneficiaries of a few things here and there.
Which government?
The government that is just about to transition once we are done with the Supreme Court hearing. The Jubilee government that was there, we have had a couple of grants here and there, especially through the Kenya Youth and Employment Opportunities Program, KYOP. It's a popular program. Yes, and who else can I think about? In recent, maybe the last 1 month now, we are supported by TechBridge Invest. Again, these are venture capital outfits based in Norway, but with operations here in Kenya and Uganda. And yeah, a few other private sector investors whose maybe details would not want to be disclosed. So it has been a roller coaster. It's a sales journey. Anyone who hates sales then may hate what we have been going through, because 4 out of every 5 sales calls ends with a no. And the no is not personal. The no is simply people are saying, you have not given us enough reasons to invest now. Let's see you in 6 months. Let's talk when you have more information. And you can imagine some of these things we have been trying to do them during COVID, at a time when markets were shutting globally. So, I mean, that journey is growing. We are still talking to more investors. So anybody on this call who knows any investors or partners would be interested in a work such as ours, we would still have to connect. So yeah, Dr. Violet, that's how our fundraising capital, equity structure so far, that has been the experience.
All right. So Jackie has shared her contact. She's the one who runs Doors of Hope. She's the director there. So she has shared her contact, which is director@doorsofhope.co.ke. Yes.
And I've taken it, so I reach out.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So now that there is someone maybe who's watching you, and he or she is unemployed, and maybe they have lost hope in life. What word of encouragement do you have for them?
I mean, I have been there not so many years back. I remember a time when my only prayer point was, if I wish I can find a place I wake up and go to in the morning. That's why sometimes people call me a workaholic, but I have been where you're just wishing you can. There's a time I was wishing I could even find, even if it's something for free, I'm not paid. I mean, I tell people in this city I worked for 100 shillings a day, and my transport was 20 shillings. So 10 bob going, 10 bob coming back. And for me is, just to encourage somebody out there, first of all, to know that time and chances happen to us all, right? So all of us are in different seasons in our lives, and that means your time is coming. Don't lose hope. Stay the course. I would want to, tell somebody eventually, once you're resilient enough on something, there's a statement that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So for me, I would use that as an encouragement to somebody. If you're out there, you're in such a situation, you don't know what the next day will look like, you have lost hope. Take one day at a time. There's a book I read many years back that is an encouragement to me today. Whenever I'm down, I still go back to it. How to stop worrying and start living. And the whole concept in that book is live in day-tight compartments. Day-tight compartments means just focus on a day at a time. Um, Today is not what yesterday was. Tomorrow may not be what today is. There's always hope. So that's what I would say, Dr. Violet, to anybody who needs that sort of encouragement today.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Alex, for the word of encouragement. And so, viewer, you've heard it from Alex, who joined us today. And he is an inspiration. I remember some years back, even I was telling him earlier on, I'd been invited to a meeting by GIZ because it's like they had an arrangement, a planning meeting or with tallow oil. You know, when tallow oil was launching in Kenya. And the virtue of me being invited to that particular meeting together with a friend of mine was to see whether we can, we have, because of the Platform Youth County Projects Kenya, to see whether we have youth who are artisans who are in the northern part of Kenya, like Turkana, because that time they wanted to drill oil. Unfortunately, I didn't have any artisans or young people who could be recruited from that side. And so what happened is tallow oil now had to import plumbers, electricians to go and work there because there was no database whatsoever then where they could get these plumbers. So now when now Fundi has come along, so these international organizations are looking for people like you, and you can even hit them up. But I think the tallow oil project, I think it's over. But that particular time they were looking for artisans. But that was in when was it? It was 2015, and see, you started in 2019. So
Yes.
you really feel the gap that was there in the market. So thank you, Alex, for joining us. And we wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this unique opportunity to be here on your platform. And thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Oh, karibu, karibu. So viewer, thank you for joining this particular discussion and listening to the inspiring story of Liwali. He is an inspiration. So I'll host another guest next time on this particular show. And if you'd also like to join and maybe share your story, you're welcome to do so. And also, I want to say thank you to the persons who have supported even the show previously. I want to say thank you to you, and may God richly bless you. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. See you next time. Asante.